When I was in high school, I dated this girl. And we only dated for about 6 months, roughly 6 months. We broke it off the start of my senior year of high school. And we were friends on and off throughout the year. Overall, we were steady. There wasn't any animosity or hatred between us. Overall, we had a cool friendship my senior year. By the time my senior year was over, I decided that I did not want to be in communication with her any longer. I decided that I'd be going to college and I wanted to leave her in New York City. I wanted to leave her in the past. So I decided that I'm gonna meet up with her one last time before I cut off this relationship forever. And when I say relationship, I simply mean a line of communication. So we hung out. I don't even know what we did. We might have just taken a walk around the block, around Harlem, just to kind of catch up before I left for school. She knew I was leaving, but she didn't know I'd be leaving her. In the past, meaning. So the whole night, I'm kind of antsy because I know what I'm about to do. She has no idea what's going on, but I know this is not gonna go well. And I'm not that kind of person either to just cut people off, ghost them, and then leave like that. So I'm having trouble. My spirit is unsettled. The end of the night rolls around and it's time for us to part ways. And I say to her, goodbye. She says goodbye, and she leaves. Once she leaves, I turn around, I walk back to my apartment, and as I'm walking back to my apartment, I block her on everything known to mankind. Every social media that I had her on, I blocked her on iMessage. I mean, anything, any way she could communicate with me or reach out with me or try to get in contact with me, I blocked. Completely shut it off. I didn't think too much of it that night. I figured maybe in a week or two, she'd realize that, she's blocked. It didn't take but 15 minutes. I got upstairs, I'm sitting on my bed, and my phone is blowing up. First thing was Instagram. She had like a second account, and she was spamming. Branden, I don't understand. I just saw you. How could you do this? I'm blocked on everything. Now, how she knew she was blocked, I have no idea. I'm not that technologically savvy or advanced. But somehow she knew she was blocked. And I mean, I'm looking at everything. Every Instagram text message that she's saying, I'm just letting it go. I'm watching it all. I put it down. She got to go. That was the first thing. Second thing was text messages. She started texting me from a separate number. I mean, there must have been 27 text messages. I kid you not. There may have been more. All of them saying the same thing. Branden, just talk to me. Branden, I don't understand. Branden, what are you doing? I just saw you. How could you do that to me? I don't get it. And I'm just screening them all. She got to go in the past. She needs to stay in the past. The third thing was calls. She may have called 20 times, no exaggeration. And each time she called, I would just let it ring. Eventually, I probably went on Do Not Disturb, but for the first 7 to 10, I just let it ring, and I watched it ring. So, that was that. She was no longer a part of my life. I no longer had to deal with our history. I no longer had to make amends with the fact that, I couldn't be the man that she needed, and our relationship didn't work. That's how I processed it my senior year in high school. So I come to college. Within my first 6 months of college, I feel like I was spiritually transformed. Praise heavens, I had done so much spiritual work. I had made such a genuine effort to get closer to God and overall just become a better person, internally, most specifically. And it worked. Because one night, I was sitting on my bed. It was late. I don't think my roommate was there. And I was praying. And this may have been like in March. So if I left her in August, this is March, maybe April. And I hear God say, why did you do that? And I said to him, God, I was trying to leave her in the past. And he said, no, He said, you can't expect to be one of my children. You can't act like you're my son and treat people that way. And then I got this idea. And it was like he said to me, imagine I treated you that way. Meaning, God, imagine I reached out to God, and every time I reached out, he screened my calls. Every time I reached out, he just listened to my prayer for the sake of listening, and then he kept doing his godly thing. Imagine if he never paid attention to me at all. When I'm reaching out and clawing for his presence, clawing for an answer, he just screened me, rejected me, let me go. And he didn't say a word. That's cold. That's cold. And I'm sitting there on my bed and I'm thinking, man, B, you ain't that cold, brother. You didn't grow up like that. You grew up in Harlem and you grew up in New York City, but your heart doesn't beat like that. That's not you. That was fear talking. That was insecurity talking. That was low self-esteem talking. What I should have done, I should have told her. I should have said, look, I'm going to college tomorrow, and I really don't want to take this with me. You know what I'm saying? We've had some ups and downs, and I've learned a lot from them, but I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on to new things, new people, and I don't want this to weigh me down. We've been through a lot. And quite honestly, it's too much for me to handle. That's what I should have told her. But I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell her that. Like I said, imagine if God were to do that to us. When we reached out in our most desperate times of need, he just shut the door in our face. I mean, we like, Lord, so-and-so just died, and I need some help, Lord. I need some hope. Lord, I just lost my job, and I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this month's rent. I still got college debt I need to pay. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. I'm lost. Imagine if that would have happened. Imagine if that would have happened. I got 3 points for you guys, and then we're done. What I had to learn after that prayer session was forgiveness. And so immediately after I had that prayer session with the Lord, I called her. I texted her first. I wasn't brave enough to call. And I texted her and I said, hey, look, you probably don't want to hear from me. That's the cliche of all cliche text messages when you know you've done something wrong. You probably don't want to hear from me, but I'll be in New York in a few weeks. And if you're open to it, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. Now that's mature right there. So I sent the text message and she hit me back a couple hours later. She said, hey, let me think about it. I said, cool. I texted her 2 weeks later when I got to New York, hey, I'm up here. Haven't heard back from you yet, but I just wanted to let you know that offer is still on the table. She said, okay, how about we do breakfast? I got class at 10. Can you do breakfast at 8:30? I said, yeah, I can do breakfast. We went to breakfast. We sat down. We had a great conversation. I told her everything. And luckily, by the grace of God, she understood. Year and year after that, we kept meeting up simply as casual acquaintances, just grabbing a bite to eat together. And it was blissful. We had truly learned to become friends. But I had to learn to forgive, right? I had to learn to forgive, number one, myself for whatever expectation I held myself to that I didn't set as a 16, 17-year-old high school kid. I had to, one, forgive myself for not being the man that I was supposed to be. Whatever idea I had of a man in a relationship, I had to free and forgive myself from not reaching that expectation. I had to let that go. That was holding on to me. I had to let that go. You see, every time that I spent time with her, I was reminded of my failure. See, we had broken up, and I felt like we had broken up because it was my fault. Now, I didn't do anything specifically, and that's exactly why we broke up. I should have been doing more. I had to let myself go from that. I also had to forgive myself for whatever I thought she did or however I thought she hurt me. If I felt that she maybe didn't reach out enough, if I felt like she wasn't there to support me in my times of need, I had to forgive her for that too. I had to forgive her for it. Sometimes forgiveness is simply saying to myself, I'm sorry, man. Let's not talk so much about other people for a moment. Sometimes forgiveness is simply saying to myself, I'm sorry. I let you down. I was too hard on you. Forget about other people. Sometimes forgiveness is simply saying to myself, I should have been there for you. And I'm sorry I wasn't. I'll do better next time. Forget about other people. Sometimes forgiveness is simply saying to myself, I messed up. And that hurt. But it's okay. Let's get to these points. Point number 1, justification. Forgiveness is not an excuse for what happened. It's not a justified reasoning or answer. Forgiveness is not what you did is okay. That's not what it is. That's not what it is at all. It's a choice to let the past be the past. It's a choice to move forward and take holy, virtuous, intentional steps of healing into the future. It's not an excuse for what they did. What they did was wrong. What you did was wrong. We get that, and we're always gonna get that. But there's no need to hold yourself and other people captive to their past mistakes. Let them go. They messed up. Why are you gonna keep punishing them for it? It's almost like you're holding on to something that happened. You're punishing yourself and you're punishing them simultaneously. For what? You're paying 10 times for something you were only supposed to pay for once. If I'm being honest, you were never supposed to pay for it in the beginning. But that's life. Things happen that aren't supposed to happen. That's life. Things happen that we don't understand. That's life. And every time something bad happens to us, and every time somebody hurts us, we can't just hold on to grudges for the rest of our life. We won't be able to live that way. Justification is not an excuse for what happened. It's a choice to put it behind us and move forward. It's a choice to put it behind us and move forward. Point number 2, forgiveness is not easy. Forgiveness is not easy. It will be hard. I guarantee you it will be hard. Why? Because we're human beings and we are attached to feelings. You see, I love how the human mind and body is constructed, because once we think of a person, we subconsciously start to feel emotions that resonate with that person. Right? So if it's a loving relationship, or you have your spouse, or it's a best friend or a coach, if you've had great happy memories with those people, when you think of them, you start to get those happy feelings. It's like nostalgia. When you were a kid and you you cooked with your parents, or you played video games, or you went to the park with your cousins. You get those happy, intimate feelings. It's the same thing when we're thinking about a bad situation. When we're thinking about old girl that wronged us, or the friend that wasn't there for us, or that we felt betrayed us, or the partner, the boss that stabbed us in our back, or the lack of people that were there when you needed them most. It's the same thing. And so we have to train our mind to say, I can't go there. I can't go there. Bible says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Take every thought and hold it captive. Test it. That's Bible. That ain't me. Take every thought, hold it captive, and test it. So that when you start to think of that person, or that person calls your phone up, no. We chose to move past that. We chose to move past that. We're not going to hold on to that anymore. We can't. There's too much at stake. I got too much life to live to be living in prison right now. Let me say that one more time. I got too much life to live to be living in prison. And I'm the one that's keeping me there. The bail is forgiveness. That's how I get out. How do I get out of the own jail I put myself in when it comes to this and relationships and healing? Forgiveness. And a whole lot of prayer. Point number 2, it ain't gonna be easy. It's going to be hard, but that's okay. We were meant to do hard things. We were created to do hard things. It's time to get acquainted. Point number 3, on the other side of forgiveness, there's peace and joy. On the other side of forgiveness, there's peace and there's joy. Once we let go, for any of you who have ever forgiven anybody, once we let go, y'all know what that feels like? You feel free. You feel like you can fly, like you can move, like you can dance a little bit, do a little shimmy, do a little bump. You feel like you can start to partake in this human experience we call life because you don't have so much weight that's holding on to you. So I'm gonna challenge you guys to really do some soul searching. Who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to say I'm sorry to? I know that there's somebody there, and quite honestly, the most important and impactful person you may need to apologize to is yourself. I'm sorry for being too hard on you. I'm sorry for not showing up on you, for not showing up for you. I'm sorry for letting you down. I'm sorry for letting you fail, right? We're talking to our own hearts. We're talking to our own minds. We're talking to our own bodies, our own spirit. We're talking to our own temples. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I should have been there. I'm sorry I didn't force you to put in extra time on these spiritual workouts. I'm sorry I never made you commit to being better each and every day. Every time you open your eyes, I'm sorry that I let you off the hook. I'm sorry I never pushed you to the level you were supposed to be at. I'm sorry. Forgive me so we can get right. Forgive me so we can get right. Point number 3. Point number 3. On the other side of forgiveness is peace and joy.